Hello, good morning, and welcome to IIM Ahmedabad AS and RAS series of interviews. Today, we are going to have Professor Akash Gupta from California State University. He was a former research associate in IIM Ahmedabad in 2014. I request Professor Akash Gupta to introduce himself and give us some greetings.
Thank you, David, and I would like to thank all the listeners for having me and listening to this talk. As you already briefly mentioned that I'm a professor at the California State University, and prior to getting to the California State University, I was doing my Ph.D. at Oklahoma State University, and where I completed my Ph.D. in healthcare analytics. Primarily, I get a degree in industrial engineering, but my research focus was in healthcare analytics. And prior to that, that is an interesting point. Before I actually get into the PhD program, I was an RA at IIMA, and I spent 2 wonderful years there. And those 2 years actually the stepping stone of my career. And if you eliminate those 2 years in my life, I think I won't be where I am today. So these 2 years are very formative year of my life. And prior to that, I was doing my master's from Indian Institute of Technology, BHU, Varanasi. Formerly it was IT BHU. Now it is IIT BHU.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to understand how did you come to this position? How did you come to know about this research associate position, and what is the background behind it?
Yeah, let me go down to the memory lanes. Okay, so I was about to graduate for my master's. Just towards the end of my graduation, I already had a job. It was good, okay, and but there was a little bit gap between my graduation and my actual start date of my job. Uh, Being stupid I thought, like, why to waste these many months on doing nothing? Why don't you go and try something? So I was just talking to one of my friends, and he interestedly mentioned about this position, and I got curious, and I applied for this position as an intern, because I don't want to get committed for years. I just had a small window of 2 or 3 months, so I wanted to just be involved for 2 or 3 months, not for a long time spent, because I have my job waiting for me. So I applied for the internship, and I applied for the internship. The procedure was simple. Dr. Roy at that time had some openings, so the procedure is that you need to send him an email and with your resume, and he will look into the resume depending on your qualification. He will shortlist, and we will take small brief interviews. So that is what happened, and he ended up asking me if I'm interested in doing internship. So I ended up coming to IIMA.
Thank you. This is so interesting that you applied as an intern, and did you leverage that position? Have you gone to your job after that?
Again, that there are some life events that happen in my life. I think these are very positive life events that happened. So my 2 months of internships translated into my 2 years in RA. Because I was firmly decided that I complete my internship and I will go to my job, because obviously RA doesn't pay as much as uh, my corporate job gonna pay me. So I started as an internship, and I finished 2 months, and I was presented an opportunity to continue as an RA. So I was then the decision was very difficult for me to whether to stay here and get underpaid and leave the IIMA and start beginning the monotonous job that many people are doing. So actually, Dr. Roy, Devjit Roy, who was my RA, who was my actually guide when I was at IIMA, he gave me he inspired me, was telling me that what are the benefits of it. Think about the long term, don't be myopic. So I ended up giving up on my job and continued uh, I continued my translated my internship into the RA full position.
I hope you don't have any regrets now about that.
Definitely not. It was the best decision of my life. Wonderful. I would say one of the best decisions.
So happy to hear that. But I want to understand, where does the trigger about the trigger point of the research, like to pursue PhD, that came from?
So thank you for asking me this question. So I never ever thought about that I would continue my studies any longer than my master's, because I was done with my studies. But after coming here, and IIMA present quality work, something that is respected across the globe. So with IIMA, when I was an intern, I get the opportunity to have a collaboration with people outside India, and then I started seeing the beauty of it. And because while I was working with Dr. Roy, he introduced me with very finest, smartest professor across the globe, and I get the opportunity to listen to those conversations and present my input and listen to their observations. So it was eye-opening, like, wow, I think this is something good. And the research really matters, not like people do research for writing the papers, but they do research because it has a practical implications. So that inspired me to continue my internship and transit into RA and be a good scholar.
Nice. Going back to the initial days at IIMA, first 2 months or first 6 months, what did you learn, and how was your so you are from IIT BHU, and how it is different from your IIT, how IIMA has changed you as a person?
There's a distinction needs to be made. When I was at IIT BHU, I was a student, and when you are a student, life is very, very different. You have a uh, set of friends, and you always drinking and partying. But when you come to the IIMA, in the beginning, at least you don't have because it's a new place and you don't have much luxury of people surrounded you. So you get more focused towards the things that you want to do. So in terms of a difference, I think this is a student profile. When I was as a student, I was doing my master's. But when I came here, trying to do like some good quality research, I was like more like a professional, trying to get my things done beforehand before it's being asked to finish it. So there's a big difference when you're a student and when you are actually in the professional world, where nobody gonna ask you need to finish this. You need to have your self motivation that I need to finish this. And towards the end of when you're in college, you will get a degree. Maybe you don't get a good grades, but in professional life, it's very different. If you don't work hard, you won't succeed. If you work hard, you will succeed. So
Very nice. Sir, I want to understand, have you assisted any courses or have you attended any courses during your RA position at IIMA?
So the quick answer is no, but I did attend an MDP, but they are not the regular courses.
Okay. So what are the specific skills that you learned here as an RA? When you came here, what are the learnings that transformed into applications in your day-to-day understanding about the work?
Yeah, so what are the skills that I learned? I think, uh, as I said, like these 2 years were my very formative years of my life in terms of research. So I have learned many things. I have learned in terms of research. I learned so many softwares, tools that I can apply, and in terms of problem solving, like what kind of where to look for the problem. And it's not like just thinking about a hypothetical problem and solving the hypothetical problem and nobody cares about it. It's not that how it works in business school. In engineering, I have seen it might work, but in business school it does not work. What you need to do, you need to go see the practical problem. Once you have the problem, then you find the solution. Not you find a solution first, then you create a problem. It's very different at IIMA culture. It's like we need to do some research that is practical, that is something that we can apply. So in that terms, I learned the problem solving, thinking about the problem. And I did mention that how about the more specific in the research, that I was first introduced to the LaTeX. This is one of the software that we use for writing research articles. I was first introduced about that software in IIMA. I was first introduced with many operation software such as Arena and others first time at IIMA. So IIMA had provided me a lot of opportunities where I can learn and grow. So both my soft skills, also like soft and hard skill, both goes hand in hand. So in terms of a soft skills, my professor, like Professor Roy, suggested me to go and join Toastmaster clubs that may help building communication and leadership skills. So I started attending those sessions, the Toastmaster clubs, and it helped me a lot. And if those who are listening to me and want to be an effective communicator and be a good leader, they should at least go and try attending at least one session of Toastmaster Club and see how could it benefit your career. So both soft skill and hard skills, this I learned like from IIMA. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing out that point about communication skills. Although you have you must be aware of a lot of technical skills, but when you wanted to become a leader or to apply those learnings, communication skills are very important. Thank you for the point, Professor. And going back to the this question about so how is your collegiality with among the other RAs? Like, did you work with any other RAs, with the professor, Professor Roy, or like you are the only one who worked with Professor Roy at that time?
You brought a very interesting question about collegiality. This is something that everybody should know, that the collegiality is very important when you want to grow. They say correctly that if you want to go fast, go single, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. So that is very important point, that you need to work as a team, not as a single person. So when I was in IIMA, so I had opportunities to work with uh, some of the artists that were working with Dr. Roy. In addition to that, I also had the opportunity to work with the people outside my close circle, and those people who are working with other professors but within same area, production and quantitative methods. So this is the way I met one of the fantastic person, and he is one of my closest friend, and we still in touch. It's Sagnik Das. And whenever I have any problem, because when you do research you are by yourself and you're struggling, and you're trying to kill yourself, you have a, like, you just want to bang your head, like, but you don't, but you see like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Then what happens, I go to meet my friend and ask his help, and he never disappointed me. Like, he's funny guy, and whenever I go with some problem he has a solution. Very smart guy. So he, many times whenever I'm struggling with the operations problem, because my background is not core operations management, so I did not have much background at that time. So this guy, Sagnik, he's my savior all the time. Whenever I have some research related problem, I go and ask his help. So he helped me in many ways. So this is one of the ways that I get to work in a team, and also not within our own area. It's good to expand your area so that you don't feel that you are just working in like one area, one closed door environment where you just learn about the operations. But it's good to get out of your comfort and talk to the people other than your the area that is you are comfortable with. So I get the opportunity to meet people from other areas. We go, we hang out, and we also like many time exchange ideas that how we can put this thing together so that we can we can have a like productive outcome. Or maybe sometimes you just, somebody is struggling in a math and you have a good math, you just solve them. You don't always need some kind of a outcome. As a friend you can solve, and this way you feel good because you are able to help and your friend get help. So many times I had very close friends in marketing, that whenever they feel any problem I can help them solve some problems. So I think collegiality is very very important. It will help to increase productivity, and also it will bring mental peace when you are struggling.
Thank you for the point that you have discussed upon the collegiality in a very specific manner. Thank you so much. And coming to the learnings, the new learnings that have been kept in place at IIMA, we'll talk about the pedagogies that you have learned or adapted in your teaching from IIMA, or how is your introduction for case methods? Are you using that case method pedagogy in your field of study, or what are the new phenomena that you try and apply in your teaching and in your research while working at IIMA or after working at IIMA?
So as an RA, I did not have much opportunity to go and engage in the class and see that what kind of method teachers are using. I do know from my friends that they use case methods a lot. Uh, but I did not get much exposure to the teaching method at IIMA. But I did learn that the important lesson from whatever MDP I have attended is that whenever you want to explain something, you need to use real world example so that the audience can follow it, can understand what you're actually saying. Because math is complex. You cannot just go and talk about hypothesis testing. You can talk about any complex things. You have to bring some real world example why they are doing what they are doing. So they need to know the motivation behind the content. So this is something that I get the impression whenever you teach, you need to bring some good examples, some real world example to help your audience follow you. So the difference between good teaching and bad teaching: in good teaching, you make sure that your audience, your students are learning. In bad teaching, you just care about finishing the content. Yeah, so I think this is the main lesson that I learned from IIMA, that make sure that you use easy example and make sure that your students and audience learning.
How did you understand your research area that you wanted to pursue for PhD, and where does that healthcare analytics came into the picture, or how does that interest came for you as an RA?
The first problem that I solved at IIMA, it was in healthcare. The problem was, how many beds do we need in a hospital, given that we have a specific number of patients coming into the hospitals and we have limited capacity, and there is specific amount of time that is being taken to treat a patient. So how we can manage this operational problem, that how many optimal number of beds do we need? Because if we have too many beds, it's a waste of resources, that is waste of money. And if we have too few, then we are basically not able to help patient. So we need to have optimal number of beds. This is the first time when I exposed to the healthcare. It was very intriguing. It was very interesting problem that we solved. But we took a little bit gap after that, and then we had some project on the container terminal. So we tried to solve those problems. But my interest still remains to see and explore further. So after I started my Ph.D. At Oklahoma State University, in the beginning, I was just trying to explore what research areas I need to look at. I failed many times. I looked into many problems, and it did not go any far. There was a moment when I was thinking that I'm going to quit my PhD. There's no way I'm going to go anywhere. Then one time I was talking to one of the about my PhD advisor. At that time, he was not my advisor. I had a different advisor. So I was just talking to that professor, and he was doing some of the collaboration with the healthcare people outside the department, and he was looking for some of the researchers, and I happened to be there. And then he said, like, if you want, you can go and explore this area. Let's see how it goes. If you like it, you stay there. If you don't like it, find your own way. And then I ended up working in a healthcare. So this is how I get into healthcare. I started from a healthcare, took a break, and then again started in the healthcare. And so this time I was not, like, first time when I was introduced to healthcare, it was more operational problems. And now when I was a second time introduced to the healthcare, it was more like a data analytics problem. So there are two different parts. Like, one is more focused on the analytics, one is more focused on the operations. So now I actually, again, that things again started as an internship. So I did internship 2 months in one of the Center for the Health Systems Innovation here at Oklahoma State University. I did 2 months internship, enjoyed I enjoyed my work, and they liked my work. Both demand and supply matched, and I started working as an RA with them with that center, and here I am, completing my PhD in healthcare analytics.
You have a very interesting story to tell. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. And how does that RA position help you to get into PhD in abroad? And did you, I mean, how did you come to know that you wanted to do PhD in abroad, in US especially?
So let me first answer your second question, that how I come to know that I need to do PhD in abroad, and then I will come to you that how my RA position helped me to get into PhD.
Sure, sure, sir.
As I briefly mentioned, that I never thought that I will do my PhD. Okay, PhD is too much work, and I won't see much potential, much benefit when you're in India. Actually, PhD is not well respected. PhD is respected when you are actually in a very top universities, IITs, IIMs, but there are so many universities those who are, it's easy to get into the PhD and complete a PhD. So there's a two different segment. One is very high quality where you need to get work and done, and then you get a PhD. And then there's a lower class university where you just get your PhD very quickly. But it's very hard to distinguish. Many times people don't consider PhD as value added. So one thing I was sure that if I want to do PhD, I won't be doing my PhD from India. I want to go abroad. If I'm doing my PhD, if I'm investing my time, I want to invest my time in quality place. So this I had in my mind that I want to do PhD. So I thought like I will not gonna do PhD because I know that I will never be able to get outside of the India, and given my all the resources, that financial resources I had, so I thought no, PhD is out of scope. Let's just go and do the PhD. Let's do my job after masters. So I was working as an intern at IIMA, and I was about to, like, towards the end of my internship, and Dr. Roy called me up one day and asked me, let's take a walk. And we were walking from his office to his flat at IIMA. And he told me, Akash, I know that you have a job, it's good, but think about that, what you can do if you work with me, and this way you can build your research, and that will help you to get your PhD. And he completely inspired me with the thought that it is possible to do PhD if I stay here for longer, because I need to build my research. I can, like, without working you cannot do anything. So he helped me, like he guided me over the whole trail. Like we took from his office to his his flat, and I took a couple of days to think about my decision, what is the right thing to do. It was very difficult decision, but I ended up deciding that I will give a try for the PhD. I will try. If failure is okay, but I will never regret that I never tried. This was a turning point when I decided that I want to do PhD. So now, how this position helped me to get into the PhD. So RA is very, very. One of my friends is a RA position at RA position at IIMA is a very interesting position. My friend told me it's a gold mine. Why? First of all, professors at IIMA, they are well respected across the world. If you had a chance to work with them, and if you put this thing on your CV, there are many times chances that where you're sending your CV, people might know him or her. So working with IIMA as a RA has a significant advantage if you want to go pursue higher studies. So first thing that you get the exposure to work with one of like renowned professors and they are well informed. They are extremely intelligent and know what they're doing. And second thing, what you get, these professors help you to get connected with the people around the world. So in my instance, Professor Roy helped me to connect with professor from US, from professor from Europe. So now I started feeling good to myself that I'm connecting with these people, and at the same time, I'm also building my own research. So these, when you put these things together, your CV become more powerful when a reviewer sees it. This is how RA position gonna help you in your career when if you want to pursue a PhD. So it will give you all the exposure related to the research that will bring your papers, and also expose you to the people. And finally, it will build a great, powerful resume that you can send and have a high weight for acceptance.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the insights about the RA position at IIMA. How does that help you and all? So I wanted to understand how use of preparation strategies for GRE and GMAT, and how did you end up finishing while you're working as an RA at IIMA?
So you asked me a very interesting question. I think you have very great questions. And as I said, like every day at IIMA was my new day. So this is another thing that you need to find out. Like you need to find a balance between your research and your score. And because you need to write GRE, GMAT too. You cannot just get into the PhD because you have a good research. You need to have a GRE or GMAT done. So it was pretty when I was at IIMA, like my GRE, like when I was writing mock GRE was not pretty good. And when we are talking about the collegiality, it's a perfect example here. So I was able to collaborate not with my with my area, production quantitative method, but I was able to collaborate with the people outside my area. So I try to find people, those who are with a similar interest, those who are working and also working as RA or working as an AA, and they are looking for to get into the PhD. So I got the chance to meet one of the AA at that time, Shelly Rathi. So she has also completed her PhD. She is now also a professor at Varanasi University. So at that time, when I was studying by myself, I'm going nowhere. I was not motivated, and I'm a kind of a guy who needs a push to work hard. So what happened? I started. We had some conversation in the beginning that she's also looking for the GMAT, she's preparing for the GMAT, and I thought like, why don't we just work together? Because she needed some help in the quant, and I needed some help in English. So it was mutually benefit, because she's gonna help me in my English, and I may able to help her in quant. So we made a team, and we used to go to library, work long hours to work on a quant, English, and we motivate each other. Whenever I get high score, she get low score, I gonna motivate her. If I get poor score, she get very high score, she gonna motivate me. So we both try to make sure that we don't we work as a team and we help each other, so that we both can flourish and succeed. And to my happiness that both of us got into the PhD program the same year, and we both completed our PhD. Now we both are the professor. So it's so interesting that sometimes a small connection, like life at IIMA, we say just having a small interaction, it can take you how far? It can take you very far. It just need to build a connection. You need to build connection within your area and outside your area.
What a beautiful, what a beautiful story it was, and thank you for that. And I wanted to be very specific in this question. Does RA position only helps for your PhD, or does it help for the industry specific? Like anybody wants to go into the industry from an RA position. Uh, so how does that help for him or her?
So I would say the working experience at IIMA gonna benefit both ways. Whether you decide to go in academics or you want to go in corporate, having an exposure to the environment where people are thriving to succeed, this environment help grow your brain, like helps develop your thinking process. You see the world in different ways. So once you start seeing those things and you see the world in different ways, whether you go in academia or corporate, you're gonna flourish. But to based on my experience, I have seen, if I have to make a comparison, RA experience gonna help you a lot, significantly a lot, if you want to pursue academics. The reason is because once you build like a research profile, once and then this research profile can directly you establish for your PhD, and then PhD, and then you go to like again you can after PhD you can go to corporate or you can go to the academia. There's a direct. I can see the direct light, or like I can see the direct path, and this is actually I have friends those who actually I shared one of the stories that like Shali Rathi, and I have like Sagnik Das. I told you he's at CMU like doing his PhD and probably graduate in 1 or 2 years. So and I have another person who was working with Dr. Roy uh, at the time when I was with him, and she also started her PhD. Uh, so there are so many examples that I see, and successful example uh, that leads to the PhD and a successful career onward. Then I know personally those examples that relate to the corporate, but I'm pretty sure that having any exposure to the IIMA environment, RA or as a TA, that will lead to the successful career, uh, whether you want to go to the academics or the corporate.
All right. Uh, Sir, speaking specifically about the COVID-19 situation right now in 2020, does it affect any admission process for the PhD aspirants? And is there any change that you have seen, in this year for the prospective PhD applicants from India, especially, and from the perspective of US applications?
So, like we are living nowadays in a very different world. Nobody expected this will happen. The COVID-19 has changed all the rules, and one of the rules that has been changed that directly affect the PhD admission is the GRE requirement, because um, many centers that nowadays not allowed to have the standard test, because for the standard test you need to go in person and you need to write exam. And right now I am not sure about the India, uh, but the architectures is not designed for COVID-19. So many nowadays, what many universities are doing, they are waiving the GRE requirement, even for the PhDs. So I know like many good universities are doing so. I believe UT, Texas A&M, they waived this requirement, but you need to check it But there's a list of university now. They have waived the GRE requirement. So this is a good thing that they understand that students may not able to write exam in time. So they are they are trying to put the things easy for the students, and university at United States are very friendly to the students. They consider that the difficulty, the challenges that the students face during those pandemic, during these pandemic years. So
But
they
I have
try.
a question here. Like, if they waived off the GRE requirement, what do they see apart from GRE?
So as I said that when you complete a PhD application, they don't only see your GRE score. They have how like not they at least get hundred of applicants. Okay, so they don't just only make their decision based on uh, whether you score full marks or whether you score decent. What is make or break point is how good you adapt in the research environment. They know that with the standard score they get to know that yes, you are good, you know the math, you know the English, you can live here. But what is more important, that whether your research profile can be adapted or does it match with what we can offer you, because each professor has their own set of skills and you have your some things in your mind that you want to pursue. So they're gonna also see your statement of purpose, they also see your statement of research. This evaluate you on the basis of these things that you provided them. So this is like as I said, like you need to have a balance between research and the score. You cannot have a no research and high GRE score. You cannot think that you will gonna get to the Ivy Leagues. Ivy Leagues, definitely you need to have a good score, but you also need to have a good research as well. So there needs to be balance. So nowadays they are focusing mainly on how is it your overall profile, where did you graduate in masters, how like your GPA, how was your GPA. So instead of standard score they can use GPA, and also like how good, like if you have done some research in the past, if you have some exposure, if you have some working paper. These things combine only tells the evaluator that yes, you could be a quality student to get to offer any kind of admission or scholarship. So they do focus on those universities, those who are not accepting, those who are waiving the like a standard exams such as GRE or GMAT. They focus on your application.
Is it compulsory to have a research experience? Matlab, you have to publish couple of papers for the PhD admission. That's what you're saying.
So I said like you need to have a working paper. So there's a difference between working paper and a publication. So in a working paper, you are working in a problem. You know how to work in the research environment. You're getting exposed to it. But having a publication is a long process. It may take sometimes 1, 2, or 3 years. I have papers that took like more than 2 years to actually get the acceptance. So it is not accepted. It is not expected that you need to have a publication. What expect is that you have some exposure, and you can show your exposure to research by attending some conferences or attending by having some working papers. So these are the elements that can tell some story about your research background. So you don't need to actually have a publication or 1 or 2 publication. I know personally, my friends did not have the publication when they got admitted, although now they have it. But at the time when they got admitted, they only had like working papers.
Interesting. That's what I am confused to understand about the dynamics about getting an admission in, for the PhD process. So we came to the last question about your suggestions for the future aspirants of PhD, and also your suggestions for the academic and the research associate at IIMA and other B schools.
So what I would say, the first thing that comes to my mind, because when I was there as a RA, there are many days when I thought I need to give up. So those days are inevitable. Like they will come in your life when you work as a TA or uh, as a RA. I'm using TA because I'm so used to a teaching assistant. So academic assistant, AA and RA, because you have ambitions, and those ambitions are like getting into the PhD, but the the path is not straightforward. The path sometimes takes you detour, and then it will take you to your destination, but the journey is different, and you will not see your destination when you are traveling to your path. So there will be many moments when you feel like I need to give up, I cannot do this, because you don't see the value at this moment because you don't see the fruit. And this is the things that I would say to many of people, that do not just give up easily when things get harder. Things will get harder. Your professor will ask you to work. He or she will tell you you are stupid. Not because you are stupid, because that professor wants you to grow. And they have a positive intentions to say things that may hurt you, but eventually they will benefit in your career. I was many times being encountered the things that I feel like I'm I'm hurt, and I felt like this is, I cannot tolerate anymore. But you see that those moments are gonna live very small time, but what you learn from those moments, that you want to work hard, you want to prove that no, I can do this is the energy that you need to bring on the table, not the negative energy that no, I cannot, this is not going to happen. You need to learn. This is what IIMA, it is pretty compressed. It's like a pressure cooker every time you're under pressure. So you need to just stay calm and do your best. And whenever the things get harder, try for the success and not look for the exit. So for this, I would say that you need to build a community. When you're at IIMA, how you can build a community, you can make good friends. As I said, like make friends across the area, not just in your area. I had great friends from outside my area, and kind of stay connected with them and learn about what is happening in their field. And also, as I said earlier, that professor at IIMA, they are well-renowned professor. You may sometimes want to talk to other professors, just to sometimes just to get the feel of like what is happening and how. You never know who gonna help you, because they all are, first of all, they're busy, but once they get to know you, they are willing to help you. So you are way above than the crowd. In the crowd does not even have access to these people. You have direct access to these people. So you need to understand the gold mine you are sitting in, that you have those access. So just use those resources. Talk to the professor. What happened if he or she does not have a time? Maybe he will give you the appointment. And so just don't don't stay in your own cell. Just try to get out of your comfort zone, connect with the people. And when I was there, like I used to use 24/7 library. Library is a great resource at IIMA. And go to Rambhai, decompress yourself. So I would say that this is definitely a little bit challenging sometimes when we don't want when we don't see the things happening. For me, I thought like I would finish everything in 1 year. It did not work out this way, so I ended up staying one more year. And I can tell you today, I'm more happy of staying that one more year than if I had made it the choice otherwise, because that 1 year of investment brought me so much great happiness and success in my life that none of things can brought me so much. That 1 year investment. So you think time as an investment. Just think that you're investing your time for the future, just like you invest your money in the stock market. You invest your time for the future, and I'm pretty sure that if you do those things, like stay connected with the people, don't give up quickly, utilize all the resources that IIM has to offer, and also Ahmedabad is a beautiful city. Go out with friends. Those things combined will bring the success to you.
Thank you so much. Sir, I want to understand the research area of yours, and what is your current research, and and if anybody wants to um, contact you, how is the process, and what do you expect from them, to have a collaboration or a collegiality, or to come to you for a counseling?
So first of all, I will tell you that I'm very friendly person. Do not scare of me. Although I'm a professor right now, but I'm still like a person who like to help people. Okay, so if there's anybody who thinks that my input can make like somebody some can make them decide what should they do in the future so that they can have fruitful outcome, they should feel free to contact me on my email address that I will provide you like through the debit, and you can just look up at my email address at the California State University. Feel free to send me an email. Okay, I'm super good in responding such emails because I know the pain, I know the misery. I was there. So I at that moment I was also looking for people, those who can help me decide things. But now I have completed that phase. Now I know that those moments are the tipping point, but you just need some support. And if I could be that support, that would be the immense service that I could do to what IIMA and the Professor Devjit Roy has given me while my stay at IIMA. So please feel free to contact me at my email in my through my email address or whatever the way you feel like through LinkedIn. And about my research, you said so. My research is in a healthcare analytics. My research is focused on clinical side. There's now I am more focused on the clinical side than the operation side. So nowadays there are so many apps are being developed where they can help you to detect disease in early stage so that you can or doctors can take intervention at the early stage. So we are trying to focus on a specific disease called sepsis and trying to see how we can identify early in stages and what kind of a treatment should be prescribed to that specific patient so that we can have we can reduce the mortality or we can have better outcome. The patient could recover faster, or they can like their chances of surviving will increase because each patient has their own physiology and they needs to be treated differently, and each individual doesn't maybe different people respond to different kind of treatment. So we are trying to develop a person specific patient specific treatment strategies to help improve the outcome. So if you're interested in healthcare analytics, feel free to look into my paper. If you feel like there's something that you're interested, shoot me an email with your ideas, and I will see how I can help you.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you so much, and all the best for your future endeavors and your research. And we expect you to come to IIMA, as a guest speakers or for research and research seminars and so on and so forth. And also, uh, as you said, the collegiality that we wanted to have, the collaborations. We expect our RS and AS take that opportunity further with you. And I thank you so much for your time and energy, and the valuable lessons. And personally, I had a lot of takeaways from this interview. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and energy. And I look forward to seeing you again and again. Thank you so much.
And I also want to thank you, David, for organizing this and also thinking about how we can combine this experience so that uh, combinedly TNRs can grow and learn from the past experiences. This is really great initiative, and I would be happy to help anytime you want. And I also congratulate you for your PhD admission, and you're gonna start your PhD. That is kudos to you.
Thank you.
And